I went to the Eastern Nebraska Soil Health Field Day up at Mead. I think it was 2021.
Mhm.
And they had a couple of guys that were doing a farmer panel. And what they were doing was using interseeding of a cover crop in their corn to suppress weeds. Like, it's interesting. Why haven't I heard about this? And so the cool thing about that was they were actually tied in with on-farm research. So they showed that there was not really any competition between the crop and the cover crop. And in fact, like they couldn't statistically prove it, but across the whole plot, it made like 2 bushels an acre more. I was like, well, huh. So then I drug out an old drill just to try. I drug out a drill that had been in the shed for probably 70 years at this point. Jacked up a wheel, and oh well, it turns, everything works. Greased it up and went to green cover seeds and got a cover, like a 8-way cover crop mix or something like that. And tried it first time with equipment that wasn't quite right, and I could see that there was enough success with that I needed to move forward.
Okay.
And the cost per acre on that was, neglecting application or custom farm rates. The seeding rate was like $25 an acre. That's it. Application fees to have co-op come and spray your field is, depending on the co-op, $10 to $15 an acre. That's just the application fee. That's not the chemicals. That's
Sure.
not a chemical program. So that's kind of the vein in which I'm trying to, along with how can I capture as much carbon as fast as possible because of the implications of water infiltration, retention, nutrient cycles, all this stuff that I just rattled off there. It's all tied together. There's stuff I didn't mention that's tied to it. And it's all about getting carbon back in your soil. I didn't know this when I started down this road. It was just like, okay, is there a way I can mitigate weed
You were
pressure?
trying to solve the problem. You were trying to
Yeah.
get rid of weeds.
Right.
Because if you got to fuel the weeds, you're just going to outcompete your crop at some point, or it's certainly going to hinder the overall yield on that crop.
Correct.
And that's less money.
Correct. So then this last year I had the Natural Resources District, the Upper Big Blue.
Mm-hmm.
They have an interseeder. But they'll come down, they'll interseed as many acres as you want them to for nothing. You just provide the seed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do other NRDs do that program? Or is
As
that...
far as I know, that's the only one that has it.
Okay.
But they're also like Upper Big Blue has some of the phase 3 restrictions, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be people that hear this that knows what that means, but the phase 3 restrictions are just, they're really concerned about fall applied nitrogen making it down to the water table. So I just lost my train of thought.
Well, in terms of like actually going after an interseeding cover crops, that
Oh,
would
yeah,
help
yeah.
kind of keep the nitrogen from leaching
Right.
into the groundwater.
Right. So fast forward to last year, 2024. I had the NRD come down. I had a couple 10-acre plots. And what I did was I had 5 acres, 5 plots. I had your standard 30-inch rows, conventional chemical control. Then I had 30-inch rows interseeded with a cover crop. Then I had a couple of 60-inch row plots. The trick with that is you got to keep your population the same. So you're doubling the population in the row.
Mm-hmm.
And interseeded in between there for weed control. You're like, well, isn't that getting to be a lot of sunlight? Yes, it is. That's getting to be a lot of sunlight getting between them rows. But what we found was, a lot of our weed problems, especially with the amaranth family of weeds, it is directly tied to the amount of excess nitrogen that there is in your soil.
Interesting.
Because
they thrive off that nitrogen.
Yep. So, case in point, well, one of the last plots was 60-inch corn interseeded with cover crops. and I ran out of fertilizer. So this plot didn't get any fertilizer. It was just, I had 10 ingots in the fire and trying to get everything done that I wanted to get done that spring. And it's just like, well, I guess we have a control.
Yeah, a natural experiment that you didn't maybe intend.
Yep. And in that control, the tractor driver that the NRD had actually missed a whole 60-inch row. So there was just, I had rye growing as a cover crop.
But there was no actual corn there.
No, there's no corn in between the rows.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yep. So there was this blank row of interseeded stuff that didn't get planted, and there was no nitrogen on it. So it wasn't bare soil, but there's just nothing growing there to stop weeds.
Mm-hmm.
With no nitrogen applied, nothing grew. There were no weeds, nothing. Nothing grew between the rows of corn.
And how long had it been that little area of soil that didn't get seeded and didn't have the nitrogen? Was that just 1 year without nitrogen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was soybeans before that.
Okay.
So, but it had rye growing in it, so
Gotcha.
all that nitrogen got sopped up.
Right. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So just, even little mistakes, if you're observant, can really be an eye opener. So, kind of getting in that vein of why I started down this road of weed control. Now, like I'm starting to see, maybe fall applied everything at once isn't the best way to do things, especially if we have weed problems. Maybe, a couple different applications throughout the year can really help with weed control.